Summary question. Democracy is the worst form of government, Churchill is said to have said, except all those other forms of government that have been tried. Churchill was always good at playing with words. Actually, what he expected was that all other forms of government that have been tried from time to time, with the last phrase implying that democracy is the root form and others mere occasional experiments. It was an odd notion. Now, he said that democracy is the worst form of government except all other forms that have been tried. What he expected was all other forms that have been tried from time to time. This is an odd, he says, this is an odd notion, odd idea, but was perhaps called for by the times in which he was speaking. He said democracy is the best form of government, except for all other forms of government that have been tried. Worst except makes it best. So he was playing with two negative. From all other forms of government that have been tried from time to time, which was an odd notion, but it was probably required to support democracy, to say it's the best form, though he played with the words, because of the times in which he was there, which was the mid 1940s, when a war was won for democracy at a nearly unbearable cost. They had fought a war to support democracy, to preserve democracy, and that war there was a Pyrrhic victory. It had an almost unbearable cost to it. But one doesn't have to look far, even within the received canon of English literature, to find impatient dissent. So he said, if you look at English literature itself, you will find dissent from this idea, people who disagree with this idea of the natural superiority of democratic government. So first, Churchill said democracy is a superior form of government, which was odd, but it was justified, or you can understand why he said it, because of the times where he lived, when he'd just come after a war which was fought to preserve democracy. But there was a dissent to this idea of the natural superiority of democracy, even in English literature. These are the main points. Which option goes with it? While Churchill may have called democracy the best form of government out of the lot, it is questionable. No, the author didn't say it's questionable. He just says it was odd. But then he could find reasons for why Churchill said that. So one, this questionable part of it doesn't go. Churchill's notion that democracy was better than other forms of government that has been tried was odd and gratuitous. Gratuitous means unwarranted. Gratuitous violence, unwarranted, unjustified. But the author has said it was understandable for his time. So B is also wrong. Churchill's odd notion of democracy being better than the other forms of government that had been tried was probably needed in his times. Yes, that is correct. Churchill's notion of democracy being better than the other tried forms of government was odd, but required in the 40s. Okay, so far so good. Though one can find its approval, no, one can find dissent or disapproval. So the second part of D is wrong. Therefore, my correct answer is C.